We have some more significant news this morning from more significant Epstein documents that I reviewed overnight to mass protests breaking out over the weekend. There is a lot to get to. And well, the biggest takeaway I have from reviewing the Epstein files so far is that a whole lot of people weren't really telling the truth, or at least it doesn't seem like they were telling the truth. And these people, they're wealthy, they're powerful, and they should be exposed. And so that's what we're going to do. And at the same time, over the country, in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, mass protests are planned today and yesterday and tomorrow against ICE, against the President of the United States, and against what is happening on the ground in cities across America. Let's just jump right into it. Before I do, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The more you like, the more people see this. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my Substack by clicking the link below. I spent the evening reviewing thousands of more Epstein-related documents. And well, there are some big takeaways that I do want to show you. And the first one, remember, all of these documents are just allegations. We don't know what's true and what's not because the Justice Department is actually violating the Epstein Files Transparency Act again today for a couple of reasons. Number one, we know that many survivor names have been exposed in this new file release, including survivors both who have been public and also survivors who are Jane Does who have not yet made themselves known. Their names are public now. Number two, the Justice Department said it would only release 3 million out of the 6 million files that it has in its possession without explaining why. Number three, redactions made in the documents violate the Epstein Files Transparency Act because they do protect wealthy and powerful people. And that is one of the big takeaways that I'm getting at this morning that I'm going to show you in just a moment. And then finally, the Justice Department is withholding hundreds of thousands of documents on this so-called deliberative process privilege, saying that essentially any internal deliberative processes that this Justice Department had while deciding whether or not to indict or arrest Jeffrey Epstein or any other co-conspirator, that it's not going to release. Well, the only problem with that is that while the deliberative process privilege does exist in theory, the law, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, explicitly prohibits the Justice Department from withholding documents using this privilege. And so they're violating it. And here's how they are violating it. This is a screen grab from an indictment. This indictment was drafted in the early to mid 2000s. And it charged Jeffrey Epstein and 3 other co-conspirators with a litany of criminal offenses. The indictment was set to be brought in the Southern District of Florida. Now, for a long time, the Justice Department said that there is no evidence or not enough evidence to charge anyone else. And yet now we have an indictment from the Southern District of Florida where the Justice Department was moving towards charging not just Epstein, but 3 other people. Presumably one of these 3 people is Ghislaine Maxwell. So taking her aside because she has been indicted, there are 2 other co-conspirators that the Justice Department under George Bush believed that there was sufficient evidence to charge with sex trafficking and other criminal offenses, that they drafted this indictment. This indictment was never brought forward, and the co-conspirators were never charged. And the question remains, why? Well, we would only know that if the Justice Department released its memo outlining why it didn't prosecute these co-conspirators. But the Justice Department now is withholding that memo, that non-prosecution memo, as they call it, under this deliberative process privilege, saying they're not going to release it, even though by not releasing it, it violates the law. Now, let me show you this other document. This is an interesting document. I mean, these are all allegations, right? These are, and trigger warning, because some of these documents have horrific, vile information. But this document was with the subject Epstein's cellmate interview from someone who worked at the FBI to someone who worked at the FBI. And it appears as though this is a summary of what presumably a cellmate of Jeffrey Epstein's told the FBI. Now, this is hearsay on hearsay, right? So this is not necessarily admissible in a court of law, but it outlines allegations made against several wealthy and powerful people, including President Trump. Blank stated Epstein introduced her to Trump, who subsequently forced her head down to his exposed blank, which is subsequently bitten. In response, Trump punched her in the head and kicked her out. Now, I will say this, that allegation is horrific. Horrific. And it matches up actually with another allegation that we saw in a different document. Take a look at this one. Not this one. Hold on a second. I'm going to pull it up because the allegations actually, as I'm making this video in real time, I'm realizing that they kind of match up. This is a complaint summary where a young girl says that she was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump. She was 13 to 14 years old, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump, and then the friend was allegedly hit in the face. So that is the FBI making a summary of what the cellmate told FBI agents. And it's not just about Trump. There's information about Prince Andrew here, now Andrew, formerly known as Prince Andrew. There's information about Alan Dershowitz, Bill Clinton, Howard Lutnick, Jean-Luc Brunel, and William Barr. Presumably that is Bill Barr, the former attorney general, although not confirmed. So there's this document. This other document shows Jeffrey Epstein talking to, quote, the Duke, presumably offering the Duke, a 26-year-old Russian woman, which is, I mean, you can see this clear as day. The Duke is widely known as the Duke of York, which is Andrew Windsor, the former prince. You have this document, which is actually pretty significant because it's Elon Musk to Jeffrey Epstein. There are a lot of Elon to Jeffrey Epstein documents where they're talking about, quote, partying on our island. Elon Musk previously claimed that Jeffrey Epstein refused, or Jeffrey Epstein begged him to go on his island and he refused. But these documents show a different story in which Elon is talking about partying on the island. Another document from Jeffrey Epstein to Elon Musk saying, will you come to the Caribbean this Christmas with Woody Allen with me, you might enjoy. That's an email from Epstein to Musk. So these are the latest findings that I found in these Epstein documents. There are more, and I'm going to continue going through them. And I'll have more information for you as I get more information. So at the same time, mass protests have erupted across the country. Ice out protests. I want you to watch what's happening in Chicago. This is in the snow, people protesting ICE and Trump. Pretty significant protest. Here's another one from Chicago. Pretty significant given that it's right in front of the Trump Hotel. Here's one from San Francisco, over 10,000 people. A massive, massive protest. And these protests are scheduled to occur across America this weekend as Trump considers sending ICE agents to Ohio next, Springfield, Ohio. So I mean, it's an inflection point for this administration. You have the Epstein files, you have these protests going on. Trump is actively considering bombing Iran as soon as this weekend to target the Ayatollah and the IRGC, the regime in Iran. You have Melania, the movie, coming out and, well, not great ratings, 6% on Rotten Tomatoes currently. And the reviews say that they would rather watch January 6th over and over again than watch this movie. So not great for the First Lady. So lots of stuff happening right now, but I will say this is all part of the effort to flood the zone. They want to throw so much information at you so that you are exhausted, that you are tired. I am exhausted. I am tired. I spent hours reviewing these files, but I love the work, and it's important to stay energized. It's important to stay active. And it's important to stay educated. And that's what I will continue to do for you, is make sure that you are always educated with the facts, the news, and I'll have more updates for you very soon. So stay tuned.